Hi again then guys, and so we've got another X-Tunes Extreme circuit setup for you today, and this time as you can see it's for the Subaru Impreza Spec C, the 2005 premium model. Now as you can see we're running 607 pp, which is pretty high given the car's power, and although this car is reasonably good in a straight line, it's not the strongest, certainly not of this series, I would recommend using it more as a technical circuit car. So for tracks such as potentially the Nürburgring Ring, but even more so tracks like Laguna Seca, Ascari, that kind of thing. Tracks where your opponents can't really use their top end power, so that you can really use all the advantages of this car to your advantage, such as the handling, the grip, the brakes, etc. So we've got racing soft tyres on this build. As far as suspension, we've got the ride height on 80, front and rear. You can go even lower if you want to. As far as the springs, we've got them on 650. That should be on 575, but I don't know why the game changes that sometimes. Dampers on 4, anti-roll on 3. We've got neutral camber and tow. We'll come back to the gearbox in just a second, as we usually do. For the diff, I've got the lowest initial torque, highest acceleration, and lowest braking. For the torque distribution, we've got a 50-50 front and rear split. Feel free to change that though, according to your personal preference. All the power upgrades, of course, and I would recommend the mid-range turbo. And we've got the full weight loss package, of course. As far as the gearbox, you can play around. Obviously, we are also running a flat floor on this model, which is why the PP is higher. But at the same time, the flat floor does, of course, affect your top speed. So this car does around 170, 180-ish under its own power. So we've got an auto setting which is geared more towards getting through the gearbox quickly and giving you that instant torque in whatever gear you need, rather than top speed, because it just doesn't have that. So we've got an auto setting of 205, then for individual gears 3.6, 2.4, 1725, 1350, 1.1 and 925, with a final drive of 3.8. So that's it overall for the mechanical setup of this X-Tune. Now let's take it out to a track to see how it performs. So as I said, this car can take on circuits such as the Nürburgring Ring, which do require a certain element of top-end performance. There are probably 4 or 5 major parts around the track which do require a strong top speed. Of course, primarily the straight towards the end. On those straights and higher speed sections, this car will lose out to some on this track, which is why I say it can do this track very well, but I'd recommend it more on even tighter tracks. Tracks where availability for top speed is far rarer, and to be honest, even Sierra is a pretty good track for this car because it's all about high average speed, and there are actually very few parts on that track where you really need top end performance. There's only really one part of that track, which is near the end. Most of the rest of the track is more about high mid-range speed, and that's the kind of example of where this car can really be put to good use. It's got colossal levels of grip, even without the racing tyres. The handling is excellent, it's really easy to drive. In fact, I'd say it's possibly the easiest of all of these X-Tunes for a less experienced driver. A great place to start as well. It's also a lot more affordable to build and buy than many of the others. So if you're new to X-Tunes, this is certainly a good car to start from. And if you would like to obviously keep up with other X-Tunes like this in the future, be sure to slap subscribe down below to see those as soon as they're released. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.